This is a SnapEd New York video presentation.
Hello everyone, my name is Wendy Beckman and I'm a registered dietitian with the New York State Office for the Aging and SnapEd New York. Thanks for joining me today on What's Cooking with NYSOFA. Today I'm going to be making a sweet potato apple bake. We will be posting the link to the recipe below, and the recipe can also be found on the SnapEd New York website at www.snapedny.org. This recipe is a great side dish for the fall months. This recipe is also a great way to use New York State apples. I will be using some New York State apples in this recipe and some New York State maple syrup. Right now is a great time to take a tour of local New York State apple orchards. New York State is the second largest producer in the United States of both apples and maple syrup. So eat local and continue to support the delicious homegrown goodness of Taste New York. This year, the Taste New York program celebrates its 10th anniversary. Over the last decade, the Taste New York program has highlighted the quality, diversity, and economic impact of food and beverages grown, produced, or processed in New York State. These last 10 years, the program has created new opportunities for producers, expanded retail locations, and forged partnerships statewide. Congratulations on 10 years. You can check out the Taste New York website for upcoming events in your area. Apples are harvested in New York State in September and October. This recipe also uses sweet potatoes. Sweet potatoes are grown in New York State, and they're harvested from June through September. If you're able to use local produce, it can sometimes save you money. Local produce is sometimes more affordable than produce that is shipped from a great distance because the price of the shipping isn't included in the cost of the produce. Local produce is often fresher than something that has been on the road that was shipped from far away. So don't forget to visit your local farm stands and farmers markets before the end of the season. Before we get into the recipe, let's look at the My Plate graphic. This recipe covers the fruits and vegetables section of My Plate, because it includes apples and sweet potatoes. You want to make half your plate fruits and vegetables at each meal, and this recipe can help you to reach that goal. Fruits and vegetables are a great source of fiber and vitamins and minerals that your body needs. Remember that everything you eat and drink over time matters. You want to find your healthy eating style and maintain it for a lifetime. The right mix can help you be healthier now and in the future. So let's start making the sweet potato apple bake. Remember to wash your hands with soap for at least 20 seconds or use an alcohol-based hand sanitizer before you start cooking. This recipe makes 6 servings. Each serving is a half a cup with 121 calories, 25 grams of carbohydrates, and 3 grams of fiber. This recipe is also low in salt and fat. Let's look at the ingredients needed for the recipe. This recipe calls for 1 pound of sweet potatoes, peeled and cut into chunks. 1 pound is about 1 large or 2 smaller sweet potatoes. Here I have 2/3 of a cup of unsweetened 100% apple juice. Look for the words 100% juice on the container. If you can find 100% juice without any added sugar or corn syrup, that's great. You can look on the label to see if there are any added sugars. Here I have 2 apples peeled and cut into chunks. You can use any apples that you want. I got these apples from an apple farm in my hometown that has a farm stand, and they are from New York State. This is a half of a teaspoon of vanilla extract. I have 1 tablespoon of butter melted. I have a half of a teaspoon of cinnamon. I think you could use more if you wanted to. I like cinnamon, so I added a little bit more. Here is a teaspoon of nutmeg. And the recipe calls for 2 tablespoons of brown sugar, but this is actually New York State maple syrup. I'm going to use 2 tablespoons of New York State maple syrup instead, just because I like the way that the maple syrup tastes and it adds a little bit of extra flavor to this recipe. Last, you're going to need either some nonstick cooking spray or about a half of a teaspoon of vegetable oil like canola oil, and I use that to coat the pan that I'm going to put this mixture into. So the first step is to preheat your oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. In this large bowl, I'm going to add everything into here and we're going to mix all of the ingredients together. So first I'm going to add the sweet potatoes. So let's do that first. Let's put them in there. You want to make sure that when you're cutting up your sweet potatoes that you try and make them sort of into uniform sized chunks so that they sort of cook at the same rate. And then next we can add the apple juice, which is right here. I was able to find 100% apple juice with no sugar added. That was a store brand. Sometimes using store brands is another way to save money. Now I'm going to add the apples. And like I said, these were New York State apples that I found at a local farm stand. And I actually found that when I visited my local grocery store, that the apples that I got from my farm stand were actually a little bit cheaper than the ones in the store. Next, I'm going to add the vanilla extract, which is right here. We're going to add some of the liquid ingredients. And now I'm going to add the melted butter, which has gotten a little bit softer here, but it's congealed a little bit, but that's all right. We're going to add that in there. And next, I'm going to add the cinnamon, which is right here. I'm going to sprinkle that all over everything. And then we're going to add the nutmeg. We're going to sprinkle that through as well. And last but not least, I am going to add the New York State maple syrup. Like I said, you can use brown sugar if you want to, but I think the maple syrup just adds a little extra something to this recipe that I really like. All right, that looks good. Now, we very carefully have to stir this all together to get the ingredients combined. So a lot of the liquid ingredients have sort of fallen to the bottom of this bowl, and I want to make sure that I coat all of the apples and all of the sweet potatoes with that liquid and get the cinnamon and the nutmeg and the maple syrup all over these vegetables and fruit here. So this is a great way to add more fruits and vegetables to your diet. And it's delicious. The cinnamon, I love cinnamon. So the cinnamon smells really great. And this is a really nice way to add a little more fruits and vegetables into your diet. So you can make half your plate fruits and vegetables. All right, that's looking pretty good. So after everything's combined, you want to pour the mixture into a greased 9 by 9 inch glass pan. And I have a pan behind me. I'm going to get that. So here's the pan. I did put some canola oil in here. And let's just see if we can get the apples and sweet potatoes in here without getting all the liquid in there yet, because I want to pour some of the liquid over the top. So let's get some of this in here. Usually, yeah, that looks pretty good. You want to spread the mixture out as much as you can so that the apples and the sweet potatoes are able to cook sort of evenly. There, that looks pretty good. And then the rest of the liquid that I have in here, I can just pour that right over the top of these sweet potatoes and apples and get all of that cinnamon and nutmeg in there. That looks really good. Okay. So now we're going to place this baking dish into the middle of the oven and bake it until the potatoes are tender for about 45 minutes. Now, if you want to sort of spoon some of the liquid that's in the bottom of the pan over the mixture while it's cooking a few times during the baking process, you absolutely can do that. Remember that you can use fresh, frozen, canned, or dried vegetables or fruit. All forms count. I think that you could use some canned or frozen sweet potatoes. Using canned or frozen vegetables is a great option if you have difficulty cutting up the fruits and vegetables. Using a knife is sort of hard for you. Using these products can decrease the amount of cutting that you have to do, and it can save you a lot of time. So let me show you some of the sweet potato apple bake that I made previously. There it is, and it really looks great with the cinnamon and the nutmeg all incorporated and some of this New York State maple syrup. It smells great, and I think it really is going to taste just as good as it smells. So I hope that this recipe gave you some more ideas on how to incorporate more fruits and vegetables into your diet. Don't forget to join me next month when I'll share more tips on how to save time, save money, and eat healthy. In November, I'm going to be making a Tuscan potato skillet with chicken. This is a great recipe with protein and vegetables all in one pot. I'll be back with another edition of What's Cooking with NYSOFA on Friday, November 24th at 12:30 p.m. on the New York State Office for the Aging Facebook page and the New York State Office for the Aging YouTube channel. If you tune into our program on YouTube, don't forget to like, subscribe, and click that notification bell so that you'll be notified every time new content is added. This presentation was funded by the U.S. Department of Agriculture. This institution is an equal opportunity provider. Have a great day, everyone, and stay safe out there.
Thank you for joining us today. We know the healthy choice isn't always the easiest choice, but small changes can make a big difference. Start today by getting involved with SNAP Ed New York. This program is free for those who qualify or receive SNAP benefits. We want to help you save time, save money, and eat healthy. Learn how SNAP Ed can make a difference in your life. For more information and to find your local program, visit snapedny.org. This material is funded by USDA's Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. SNAP. This institution is an equal opportunity provider.
Hi, I'm registered dietitian Wendy Beckman, host of What's Cooking with NYSOFA. Over the past 2 years, I've had the opportunity to share healthy, nutritious recipes with you on the show. I work for the New York State Office for the Aging, and thanks to a partnership with SNAP Ed New York, our nutrition team reaches hundreds of thousands of older New Yorkers each year. So why a cooking program? 60% of health costs and related issues have nothing to do with health, but instead have to do with individual behaviors like our food choices and physical activity. The recipes we feature are nutritionally appropriate for older adults, meeting critical nutrition requirements for healthy aging. What I bet you don't know is that this show is only part of a larger effort. To help me explain what our nutrition team at the New York State Office for the Aging does and what a registered dietitian is, here is registered dietitian Lisbeth Irish.
A registered dietitian is a professional who has training and education in food and nutrition. To become an RD, you must complete certain requirements, including a minimum of a bachelor's degree from an institution that's accredited by the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. You must also pass a national examination and meet continuing education requirements. What does that mean? As RDs, we are qualified to offer accurate advice about nutrition, and we can help answer your questions about how diet can affect your health. At NYSOFA, the registered dietitians handle many tasks. This includes hosting 2 online programs aimed at helping older New Yorkers make better nutrition choices. These programs are What's Cooking with NYSOFA, which is our monthly cooking demonstration, and a Facebook Live program that I host called Ask the Experts, Nutrition Edition. In the months ahead, be on your lookout for it. We'll be sharing your questions and our experts' answers about nutrition and health. New episodes of Ask the Experts Nutrition Edition debut the second Friday of each month on Facebook and YouTube.
As Lisbeth explained, registered dietitians at NYSOFA handle many tasks, including food safety at congregate meal sites, educational materials, and outreach. In the meantime, please don't miss an episode of either show produced by our team, What's Cooking with NYSOFA and Ask the Experts Nutrition Edition. Every episode is uploaded to YouTube, and you'll find the archive shows there.
Do you have a question about foods? Or do you have a particular health issue that you'd like to improve by changing your diet? Tune in to Ask the Experts Nutrition Edition every second Friday at 1 p.m. We'd love to hear from you.
Remember, registered dietitians are the experts in nutrition. Visit for more sound advice about eating healthy on a budget.